දසනකාන්තී චූර්ණය සහිත ලීවර් ආයිෂ් දන්තාලේපය දත්වල ඇති ප්‍රශ්න 10ක් වලකයි.
Earlier this year, Sri Lankans had to deal with an unpleasant experience of spending close to 12 hours of power interruptions a day due to the shortage in foreign reserves. However, the power interruptions were brought down to 1 hour at present as the country has managed to improve the forex reserves position. Once again, however, the possibility of Sri Lanka having to undergo power cuts spanning 10 to 12 hours a day is warned of. The fear of long hours of power cuts has once again surfaced due to a legal issue surrounding the country's coal provider, a company known as Black Sands, due to allegations of the company not being shortlisted by the tender committee. With this being the case, the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka said that the country will need to go for a new tender in the next 2 to 3 weeks or risk having to spend 10 hours a day without electricity.
Since we are using almost 5 metric tons a day in order to run 2 plants, we have only 250,000 metric tons which will be finished by almost 28th of October. We are facing some crisis with the tender which was awarded to Black Sand Corporation in order to supply coal for the next season, which was the cheapest, and Lanka Coal Company has selected the supplier to supply coal, but unfortunately since certain parties have gone into litigation plus the other unsolicited bidders are objecting to this, it has come to a point where the Black Sand, the selected company, is not in a position to supply the coal for the next season. And therefore, only available option is to go for the previous year, the orders, which are slightly expensive than the quoted prices this year. The issue is that this year, the tenderer quoted with 6 months credit period or with the use and sell facility. Since our banks are not in a position to open LCs with the international corresponding banks, and since we do not have Forex and the US dollars which is required, now we have come to a very critical situation where we need to pay 30% of the purchase price in advance, and again when the unloading take place we have to pay the balance. In order to avoid power cuts after 28th of October, we need to make sure that we order a shipment every 5 days. We need to order a shipment spending almost $21 million per consign, and we need minimum of US dollars 90 million per month in order to get this coal imported. Otherwise what will happen is that when we deplete our stocks within next 2 to 3 weeks, probably the last week of October, we will run short of coal and we need to shut down almost 900 megawatts of power, and we are looking at almost 10 to 12 hours power cut as we experienced around few months back. So we need to avoid this. PUCSL is very much concerned about the situation. We had a very constructive meeting 2 days back with the officials from Central Bank, Treasury and the Ministry and CB. There we stressed the point that we need to make sure that all these government institutions should get together and find money, required money of almost maybe around 90 to 100 million a month, and maybe for Lanka Coal Company to go for a new tender since the related parties are disrupted that the due tender process, and selected parties not interested in supplying anymore, thinking that they will get into trouble if they started supplying. So we need to make sure that available and the ordered shipments from the previous is imported and go for a new fresh tender within next couple of weeks, and make sure that you get right supplier with the right credit facilities for us to have continuous coal supply in order to maintain 24 hours power supply.